Welcome once again to the Outhouse Lounge, where we relax and talk about stuff. Joining me in the lounge today is someone I have had on other programs in the past. Over the last year plus, she's recorded a bunch of great new songs, produced new videos, including one on the way, and launched her own record company, Kitten Robot Records. Josie Cotton, welcome to the Outhouse Lounge.
Thank you, Chris Cordani. Very pleasure to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, too. You have a new single and video coming out. In fact, you were working on it over the weekend before we recorded this one.
Yes, I was. I was working Saturday and Sunday, doing the last segments you have to plan for and all this. So then we have to edit it. There's so much footage. It's too much. I don't know how we're going to put it all in 3 minutes, but we might have to play the song 3 times because it's just so dense. I don't know why I do it.
There you go. Might as well. We might have to add another verse or two to this one, I guess, just for the video.
Right. Just start it over. I'll repeat.
I saw the video tease. It looks rather intriguing, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah. It's I think I'm an ornery kind of character in this one, so it works.
Ornery's good.
Works.
Ornery's respectable. Day of the Gun,
right.
Day of the Gun, the full album. We'll talk about the song in the album. You tout it as a dystopian musical with David Lynch as a reincarnated French poodle over things. That's interesting. I'm a David Lynch guy too. So.
Yeah, I like the overthinking part, especially, but it's kind of true. I mean, I said it like just kind of came out of my mouth, and I realized it's actually true. It's not just nonsense. It's true nonsense. So it's the best
wrong
kind.
With true nonsense. Yeah, that's the best kind of nonsense. The true nonsense. You don't want the bull nonsense. That's not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll assume you're a pretty big David Lynch fan, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I am a fan of his. Yeah, I mean that was the first time I think my analytical mind shut off when I was watching one of his movies. I think it was Blue Velvet, and it was so obtuse and so nonsensical in such a beautiful way, and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know how it was going to end, and so it was kind of a freeing moment. I remember that's going, okay, this does not compute, and really liking that feeling because I analyze things to death,
I do too, and I like the way that David Lynch has always made you feel sorry for certain characters that either he puts himself into, or even the bad guys. The villains even makes you feel sorry for.
Yeah, you feel sorry for them, but at the same time, they're not sympathetic characters. Like in Eraserhead, the main guy I'm not really on his side, but I do feel sorry for him.
I was on his side. I used to have a puppy I used to have a puppy who'd scream like that baby whenever I left the house for work.
Oh, the baby. The baby. I was supposed to have pity for that creature, but that was a bit of repulsion going on. I think that was the desired effect too. Like just, exactly. And I hear that they used an unborn lamb to make that thing.
I think I heard that too. What I liked about the movie was, and I liked about the character, the guy, and I know you weren't on his side. What put me on his side is he tried his best to take care of the baby, and everybody.
He did.
His lady left him, and it was him alone. He had to work. He didn't have a very big place to live, and it was.
I know, and that weird hum of machines, like giant machines humming through the whole thing of just this bleak world. I think it was the world he was in. It was not quite this world, but something pretty close, in the astral worlds. We're talking, you know about those.
Exactly. And Day of the Gun you really go back to this whole thing. I like that David Lynch reincarnated as a French poodle who overthinks everything.
In her
And
past.
right. I I you also I will talk about Paul Roessler because you call him your muse in that phrase here. But the
Yeah.
idea is what you have a story involved in Day of the Gun. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about a lot of your work. You do put stories together.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I try. I really, it's important. It's the only thing that keeps my interest going, like the story, and, of course the feeling and, that song, that particular song, Day of the Gun I channeled that one. I mean, I didn't write it. Something else, some alien, something, I don't know, but it didn't seem like I was writing it. And including the line Day of the Gun, I just picked up a guitar and it kind of happened. The song, that's rare for me. I usually like agonize over, them and just like, it's just like a wreck until they're done. And sometimes they never get done. And, but this one just like, boom, boom, boom. And at Day of the Gun, that's a really good line. That's cool. That's like a spaghetti Western. That was exciting to me. It's like, because it sounded like, it was nothing to do with guns per se, but it was like the moment when you have to take action, the moment of, you have to, just make a move, bust a move, and just, and it was just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed fitting for everything around me and the world. And yeah, so that, and then I looked it up because I thought, sure, someone used this. This is no way no one wrote a song called Day of the Gun or something. And sure enough, no one had, but had been a movie. It was a Western movie, obviously. And I think in the early 80s, but I don't remember it. And I don't know if I ever saw it, possible. But anyway, it just seemed like such a, and a movie poster, Day of the Gun. And so, so that's what that was.
You can find Josie Cotton's music on Spotify and wherever you get your downloaded music, or better yet, I always enjoyed holding the CD, but that's another different story for a different day. You can pick up really cool Josie Cotton CDs and get things through her Kitten Robots website. We're going to talk about the record company, but I want to get back to the album and the song Day of the Gun. I was always a big Western fan. Westerns, I would say, fascinated me in a lot of ways because they were fun to watch back in the 30s, 40s. And there was the reimaginations of the Westerns when you had Frank Sinatra starring in some of those. You had the B-movie Westerns. So I'm going with this. The Western theme, the kind of Western twang in your guitar still brings me back to that great style of 60s, 70s B-movie soundtracks you've done for so long and kind of made it a Josie Cotton special, if you will.
Well, I mean, and then there's all the Italian Westerns, so they took into a whole new realm. That was so beautiful to me too. And it's kind of one big thing to me, but, yeah, I love the twang. I just can't, I can't let go of the twang. It just always works for me, and I guess that's the part of Texas, that's kind of in there. But also, surf music had some really great twang. It's just, just all kinds of music I love, and Wanda Jackson and all that. But yeah, I mean, they just seem to work in I try and put them in any song I can.
Josie, recently was the 1-year anniversary of the release of The Ballad of Elvis Presley, the single you did with Kevin Tyler Preston. That's on the album, by the way. You say he's your favorite singing partner. You call him his George to my Tammy. Now, at least it wasn't Jim to Tammy Faye, but that's a different story.
George Jones. Why not? Yeah.
It's a nice tribute, though.
Yeah, and and we've done several projects together. He was in my band before he betrayed me and went to Green Day. I kid him around that. Just like, of course, you take an opportunity, like run, into the night. It just, but I tease him like, that, I was happy for him. He's my friend. But yeah, we did a John Waters event like about a year ago, and Madonna Inn, and that was really fun. And we did the Bad Reputation video for Mikey and his uke, which was so fun. And because he was playing guitar on it, and I was singing, and I didn't know he was going to be on it, so it was just so fun. And so we ended up doing the video together. And he's a very handsome guy, and we're going to do a show together in the next couple of months, just him and I doing like kind of an acoustic set of different songs, and we're talking about making a record together and stuff, because I love singing with him. He's incredible.
Well, your tribute to Elvis was absolutely fantastic. You guys really sound like you work well together. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you put in this new album.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed one in some of your songs in recent years, your creations with hybrid and classic country and Americana genres. I want to ask, though, before we get into the influences in this part,
Yeah.
a lot of people like to ask the question, the Beatles or Elvis? While they fall under rock, they're two completely different styles. What's your take?
Of who is more rock and roll?
Or who do you like better?
Oh, well, I mean, there's no way to like say anything but great things about Elvis. But I mean, I did love the Beatles. I mean, I think the Beatles, they're for me, it was just an important, phase of my musical education.
That's the thing. It's either the Beatles or Elvis for a lot of people, but they're really equally respected on both sides because Elvis is a different guy. He was the guy who blended country and soul and made rock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the Beatles took what they had, what was created before, and made something totally different. Then they added jazz. They added a whole different kind.
Mm-hmm.
And Elvis was one of the great gospel singers of our time.
Yeah, he was pretty magnificent. And it's funny though, because the Beatles, it was more the Stones who took on the kind of the R&B accents of that were not British accents and all that.
Yeah, they had those American accents in the songs. Yes.
Uh-huh.
What are your influences in the style you put together, though? You have that Josie Cotton style where you kind of hybrided a load of genres into one.
A load. Yes, I do. And it makes it hard to book me because I'm just the hardest part for me has been finding a booking agent who kind of got me and they liked people to be one thing, and I understand that but I'm different things, and so but I have found someone. It's going to be a whole different world for me having someone being able to work for me in that world. And yeah, so what was the question?
I was talking about your influences when it came to putting together all those genres. Even that's the
yeah, but it's just like you with your different kind of lounges. It's like you're putting together disparate elements, and then you come up with something. Maybe it's not beautiful, but it's a hybrid. It's never been made before, or not exactly like that. It's just like I don't know. It's kind of like mutating into the future.
I like that, mutating into the future. Thing. Reaching into the past to mutate into the future. I actually like that concept. That brings me to your song Ukrainian Cowboy. We talked about that a couple of years ago on the 80s show, but this puts all that together. It has the old style Western. It has the modern Americana, and it has, of course, your Josie swagger involved in all of that, but a neat story and everything.
And all set in a polka, in a polka song.
Polka, I love polka. I'm a polka guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cowboy song. I mean, it really is a sad cowboy song. And it's funny, when people see the video, they think it's like a funny song, and they don't listen to the words when they watch videos, I guess. But, it's sad it's funny. It's both. It's both.
You have to listen to the words to a song. There are some great upbeat songs. I actually talked about this on a past show. There are some great upbeat songs that if you really, really listen to them, they're not as pleasant as you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember Timothy? This song Timothy from the Buoys? It was an upbeat song about...
I don't remember.
That's the song. There were these three guys. There was an upbeat song, three guys. It was a rock tune, big hit. And they were out camping or something. They wound up eating their friend Timothy and taking that secret to the grave with them. But that's what the song was about. You're dancing to it, you're listening, and you realize, wait, they ate the guy?
Right. But I kind of like that because they, like it's kind of, it just shows people where they're not listening. Once they finally hear it, they become aware.
Let's go back to Day of the Gun. Let's go back to Day of the Gun. I talked about you're intertwining all this music and everything and bringing that 60s, 70s B-movie influence. This, of course, leads me to Disco Ball. The beat, the voice, the funky twang, and the pacing.
Yeah. That's a few different things. That's a true statement. That's really, it's kind of an homage to James Brown, who was a huge influence on me. And that was one of the first kinds of music I sang was soul music. I was all into James Brown I was a little girl. And one of my first, records I ever got, and was James Brown. And I went to concerts when I was 14, and then later on in the 80s, and so he just kind of entered the song. And I didn't start off going, I'm going to write my love song to James Brown. It was just the lyric just came through, and I'm going to keep that night, but I don't know why, because I just love James Brown. And that was another one that was just channeled. And it was just like random ideas and random. At one point there were like 4 bridges and no chorus, and it was just, and Paul Roessler, he was just saying, oh, just let it fly, like just let it go out there like it is. And just exactly how you it came out of you. And I was trying, it's like, there's no chorus. Like, there's no,
who needs a chorus?
And there's no title. And so I've, finally a friend of mine just said, use that part, that section, use that as a chorus, because that's really pretty. And that's what we ended up doing. And we got rid of one of the bridges became the instrumental, but it was just, so I'm just kind of dipping into the invisible universe right now. I just, it's pretty wild, but the hard part is you have to figure out what the song is about. And I didn't know. That's when you have the music and all of that, and the melodies and the chords, but you don't know the title, and the whole world is open to you. And it's just like, it is such an empty, lost feeling. I'm just like, I don't know. What are you trying to say? And so on that song, that's what that was.
It's fascinating learning from artists like yourself and others how a song comes together. And to a man or to a woman, to a human, I'll say, a lot of times these stories are different.
Oh yeah. Very different. And what I've learned about, just people say, how do you stay inspired? Or I couldn't write unless I was inspired. And what I've learned pretty recently is that when the inspiration comes, you have to listen to it and you have to record it in some way. You have to jot it down. You have to record your voice, or you'll forget it for sure. And so that's the thing. It's like you don't question it. You invite it in, and then you have to stop and whether it's from a dream. But the thing that takes discipline is when you go back and you listen to what you've done, and that's when it becomes like a puzzle. You have to piece all these things together in a way, but that's fun too. That's the other side of your brain. And so you don't need inspiration for that. This is where you go, well, that's going to be the chorus, and I'm going to add these chords here and blah, blah, blah. And, and this is, so, I had to break it down into 2 phases because, to force yourself to be creative, that's torture. Like, okay, now I'm going to be inspired right now, starting now, right now. And it's like, nope. And then you get discouraged, from trying. And so it's just different parts of the brain are doing the writing, I believe. At
It's
least two.
always it's always good to have a great partner too. And back to that quote from the beginning we discussed. Many to thank, but especially to Paul Roessler, who you just
Yeah.
mentioned, my brilliant not muse, boy,
Or
here's my problem with reading, my brilliant muse and co-conspirator on this long musical journey we've been on.
yeah. Yeah, I write alone. So I don't really know how to play with others, I guess. Well, uh it's a solo venture for me, and I wish it wasn't the case, because I love collaborating, and we collaborate on the production and the mixing and the arrangements. It's like an equal footing, but the writing, that's me in a rowboat at night on the ocean. It's just like,
I got you.
oh.
Yeah, no, not too many hands in the creative jar, but I do note that tail end of what you said about him. He said he made you brave.
He made me brave. Yeah, because he was my sounding board. I mean, that's a beautiful thing where, I remember when I was writing Ukrainian Cowboy, and I say, can I say the purge of Stalin in a pop song? Because that's the lyrics that's coming out. And he said, yes. And I went, okay. I believed him.
I
And
believe
so,
I believe more people should know about the purge of Stalin.
I
Nobody talks
know.
about that.
How
Yeah.
funny to put that in a love song.
Wow. That's what's unique about it. You have to put these things in a love song. It makes people think, and wait, did you just do that?
Yeah. Stars people like a little bit, which is, I think I am trying to startle people sometimes, just to get through, the blood brain barrier or whatever that is, just a little. And I think, people who writers and poets and songwriters, I mean, I don't know if everyone does it, probably not, but that's, just to explore, to be really curious about ideas, and and have that sense of wonder about the world and what you see. I think, it's like having a child, like part of yourself, and just kind of running the show.
Well, isn't that the way it should be? One
Should-
thing is, isn't it? I say one thing that I really want to get in there because you mentioned that you like to stir the pot, and you have done it throughout your career. You even were brave enough to take on the mantle of recording Johnny Are You Queer,
Right.
which you would have been canceled. You were almost canceled back in the '80s by a different breed of people who would have canceled you had that song been released today.
I mean, I like to think of it as I brought together a whole lot of people who didn't like each other in the joint, like organization of going after me.
I remember the one woman who went after you really hard. It was the girl with the pink hair, the lady with the pink hair who cried on
Yes.
cue when she did I forgot. I used to see her on WTBY in Poughkeepsie, so it was a network,
Right.
right? But she was so loud and vocal against your song. Didn't really realize what the song actually meant,
Right.
what the meaning behind it was, and other people got a little offended here and there. But the fact is, it's an iconic song. It's a classic. And you had a lot of support. Not only have you had a lot of support with the song over the years, even during the rougher years of the censorship era now, but a lot of LGB artists have taken your song and played with it. The Elephant Guys, the guys in your Pussycat Babylon video, did a great rendition.
Yeah,
with
that was a super modern version of it, and it actually really angered the writers of the song, the Payne brothers.
Ouch.
They were offended by that.
You can't win anyway. Josie can never win.
Like, you can only open the door this far, but maybe it needs to go a little farther, like 20 years down the line, and they were just like, no. So that was interesting. But I just like opening the door, wider. And, I guess I'm easily bored, I think, with my own thoughts. So, I just like kind of like mix it up,
Josie has a big tent. That's it. That's your music. It's just a big tent. Everybody wants a big tent, but you actually have one.
Thank you so much. And like even when I came to LA originally, I was had demo tapes songs because I was just trying to be a songwriter, and I was just playing people my songs, and when they would listen, they would always tune into my voice, and they would go, you sing too many different styles of music, like you what are you doing, and it was like it worked against me, and now it seems to be like people that are starting to appreciate that a little bit, like
They
I
act like it's a bad thing to actually expand and sing other or combine genres or sing in different styles.
yes,
What
yes.
what kind of people are in this industry these days?
Oh, I don't formulaic people.
Right. It's a
Formulaic,
science now. Music has become
yeah,
a science, Josie.
yeah.
I get asked, where can you find good music nowadays? Where can you find people who put out good music? Well, thank goodness I have you here, and we're going to tell people where to find it. I know it should be my job as the host. I can't just say, Josie, tell me. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take you to it. Kitten Robot Records. This is your company.
Yeah.
You brought forth some really interesting artists that play, again, varied genres. They seem to have a lot of fun with what they're doing, and their music is absolutely very different from the science they're putting out today.
We try and bring on people who already have there's no artist development at Kitten Robot. We just people who are fully developed and have or making their own videos, or they bring something like magical to the table, and they're like a finished piece of art, and so because I don't think you can give people art, you can't groom them into that. So that's been really fun, and yeah, there's some really interesting artists uh, uh, coming out and that are on there right now. And the sad thing to me was when Dark, Mark, who was on Kitten Robot, who he died. The artist, he was in Sparkle Horse. Can't believe I'm forgetting his name, but he died before his record came out on our label. Mark Sparkle Horse. He's on. Let me see. Oh, I can see. Yeah. Oh, you're going down. You're scrolling down. Well,
I
I'm taking them off now because they're
There we
not
go.
around. But
You have some great.
Dark Mark was his name with us. Dark Mark.
You do have some great names amongst the talent here. I personally like Eddie Spaghetti and Frank Meyer, and of course Dark
Yeah.
Mark versus Skeleton Joe. That I like that. Not and Skeleton Joe versus.
Yes. And then Harry Cloud is like a total artistic mess. He's just he's just so talented, and he makes songs too fast, and we have Inger Laurie coming out like very soon, and which is amazing. She hasn't, from the Nymph, she hasn't done a record in so long, and that's been a journey. I can tell you that.
I was listening to Larry Cloud. Larry Cloud offers a rather interesting take on music in general. There was one song where he's changing time signatures back and forth. I enjoy that. That's something I like to listen to. Guys
Yeah.
who use ladies and gentlemen who use different kinds of time signatures for their music.
Yes. Yeah. He's in some other world. He's absolutely, he's going places I've never seen. And Crow is amazing. Her new music is sounding fantastic. And yeah, Eddie Spaghetti, who's in the Super Suckers, and which is they have some great songs. And Kira Roessler, that was pretty epic. Score. Of course, it's Paul's sister. Pretty easy to get her. But just some amazing some people. And Haley and the Crushers, she's like, yeah, it's a young band. She's just like this punk rock,
And Haley has a captivating voice. Not a lot of punk rockers have that captivating melodic voice. She has that.
She has a beautiful voice, and she was not a trained singer at all. She was a writer in like magazine articles and whatnot, and so it's really cute. And Loki's Folly is our new signing. All these are really, really young. I think they're in grade school, or I don't know.
The Velvet Starlings is a great name. I like that. They bring back the
Velvet
psychedelic
Starling.
60s they mix a little modern look with the psychedelic 60s. I
Yeah,
like that.
but I mean that's British invasion straight up. Like it's which is dear to my heart. That's my favorite. I guess that's why I veered toward the Beatles, because the British invasion to me was just like that was my coming, into my music realizations. um, in rock, and so yeah, so it's they capture that, and yeah, he's adorable. He's just turned 20. I mean, we've had him since he was 17. So
Josie, my first Outhouse Lounge was with Cherie Curry, who obviously but she has dedicated a lot of her time to helping young artists navigate through problems with club owners or the industry, trying to mess with them, trying to rip them off and things like that.
yeah,
You're doing the same. You're helping a lot of these young. You're bringing these nice these young artists into a fray where they can play their own music and not get thrown around or pushed into
yeah.
doing something they really don't want to do. And I think that's a good thing. And we need more of that.
And to be treated, be treated well, and they keep their own publishing, and like
Right.
all of those things, and yeah, it feels good. I love being a conduit for this. It takes a lot of the heat off of me, because at first, it was just so all my things could be in one place, and then it was just like I realized, God, there's so much great music that never gets heard. We've got to step up, and in Los Angeles alone, and yeah, there's all the artists, and yeah, Tombstones in Their Eyes. That's a
Another
beautiful.
great name. I love the names. The names are absolutely fantastic.
I know, it's so good.
I want to give another shout out to Paul Roessler because I spent a lot of time listening to his music before we got on the air. This guy, this guy can use his voice as an instrument.
No, he's a great singer, and a poet, and a deep thinker. I mean, and also like it's totally irreverent, kind of like like pal of just to joke around with. He has all these elements, and he's just damaged enough for me to love him so much.
Well, we need more damaged people around here to
I
kind
think
of
so.
make us feel better about ourselves. There we go.
But just because you can relate to them. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I'm messed up. Like,
So now I know why you like coming on my shows with me. All right. Well, there
okay,
we go. I'm pretty messed up too. Josie, what do you look for in a young artist or an up and coming artist that you say, hey, these people, this group, this solo artist, they would be perfect for Kitten Robot Records.
well, I mean, like, passion is like so important, to have passion for what they do, and just that, something unique, to them, and that just makes us go, oh my God, or like, oh, I mean, all these different reactions where you have some kind of visceral reaction to what you're hearing. It's like, and it's not just one reaction. I mean, it can be painful. Sometimes art is, you know, um, painful if it's weird enough, but I mean, I think that's good too. So we just need it's an emotional, actual decision, I think, for most of us. And, and just knowing that their art has come its full road, without having to go, okay, well, maybe if you change all your shoes, like, I don't know, it's like you can't package, like,
or change the color of your jacket, maybe,
yeah,
or
or
take the tie off. No, I'm
everyone
keeping my
get
tie.
perms and wear ponchos. Like, yeah, that's it.
Right. I mean, this is my problem. Besides the fact that I stink, I would be told to change your clothing, wear something decent, eat like a human,
Like,
you know, comb
oh,
your hair.
If
Cut
you
your
were
hair.
told to eat like a human,
No,
you're not gonna.
I'm joking there.
I know.
I had to throw that one in there just to see, to see if the
Yeah,
listeners out there were actually listening.
that's good one though.
Josie, I want to do one more thing on the
Okay.
on your album, Day of the Gun. I did not mention a song that I wanted to mention, and I'm going to go back to that right now. It was another song that intrigued me. They're all intriguing, but I like the Fathomless Tale of Silky and Sam.
Yeah. Oh, you
And
do. Oh, I'm so glad.
but you tell stories, and I miss that. You not only you put great style, and I get to listen to my favorite Josie Cotton music from back in the day, and of course my personal favorite album from you. And I'm going to say it. I don't want to sound like one of those fans, but I will always recommend Invasion of the Bee Girls as one of the finest albums ever
Yeah.
made.
Oh,
Uh,
it was the most fun to make too.
and 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 those songs, many of them tell stories. I had a show, the last show, as a matter of fact, we did episode number 14. I had a couple of my favorite people I work with on another show, and Taco was actually on with me too with this panel. And we were discussing how the story song has gone the way of the, I guess,
Yes,
of the dinosaur, if
the
you
way
will. I
the
hate to
dingo
put that
dog.
in there.
Yeah.
We need more story songs. We want songs people can listen to nowadays. That's why pop music was actually cool in the 70s. We had story
Yeah,
songs.
I know. Could not agree more. And it's funny that song came from a dream I had about a spider, and it was this giant spider, and but I fell in love with the spider, and we were in some Eastern European town with there were no humans, and it was just I was like in another world, and this spider had such long legs, and I woke up and it was just like that dream. And I was trying to write it down, and I had an unfinished song it was still in my head. And the line from this that I was writing from the dream kind of intersected with this melody. And it was like, oh my God, it's a dream. It's a song about a spider, like, and, and so I started describing, parts of the dream and everything, but, in this imaginary house, and obviously circles are a big element on this record. There's a lot of circles like, and there's clocks and there's calendars and there's things coming to an end, and the cycle of life, all that. But yeah, that's one of my favorite songs on the record, and no one really mentions that too much. But yeah, that was like discovering the story as I was writing it. That was kind of beautiful. It's like, okay, there's a spider, blah blah blah, and then towards the end, I was like, oh my God, she's the creator of time, this spider, and how do I, like knit it together to tell the story of, her and the spider she befriends, and they've traveled the world, and they are eternal, and they're the ones, and their time is about to end, which means all of our time
Yeah.
is coming to an end. But it's like it's celebrating it, like counting it down. We're counting it to the end. And so yeah, and so that makes me so happy to listen to that song still. It's just because it's not about me. It is so removed from me, but it's just like I love these characters. I just love them. And yeah, thank you so much for noticing that song. Appreciate
It shows there are people that in your life that you have a journey with. You'll always know and love them, even if you don't see them that often, or if you're attached to them, they're always near you or they're always around you. Still, there are certain people that will always affect you, and they'll be around you until the end, and you share life's adventures with each other.
that is true. That is true.
Yeah, that's very important. And
Yeah, and it's just like she's taught, and then there's the kind of the apocalyptic, in the choruses. It's like I just see this underground. If I was going to do a video, and I think I'm gonna,
oh, I like
but
that.
talking on a shortwave radio, like she's alone, and she's like like talking on this, trying to see if there's life out there, and you don't know if this is it a dream, or is that her imagination, just because she's going insane in this bunker, during all this stuff. So there's that element too in the choruses, which sound really happy, but actually they're not.
It's a touching track, and it's something that it really stood out to me.
Thank you.
Also, I believe more songs should have the word fathomless in it. That's the other thing.
I thank you. I questioned my judgment like later on when I was trying to, the title is so long. I'm just used to like really snappy titles and but yeah, it just seemed like I searched for the right word to describe it. I knew it was like a fairy tale. This song is like a fairy tale, and and um, and so it's like fairy tales are and that was just a word that I just like. That's no one uses that word. That's a beautiful word. Like you don't know how deep something is. That's fathomless. It's like
Right.
a fathom of that's a kind of a depth measurement in the ocean, right? The fathoms.
Yeah, and thanks to you, Josie, I'm going to use that word in a sentence more often. I think we
Every
should do that.
day, yes.
That and thanks to Blackadder Rides Forth, the the British TV show. I use the word gobbledygook a lot more. So
Oh, I see. Well, listen, how is your day? Fathomless.
yeah,
That's a
exactly.
new answer.
It,
Fathomless.
are you feeling rather fathomless today?
Right. It's better than, oh, I feel good. I mean, the fathomless, like, tell me more.
Josie, one thing you can teach people here, and people can learn from listening to your music over the years, is you can teach people how to sing. You can teach people how to play instruments. You cannot teach imagination, but each has their own, and there are different ways to nurture such imagination.
Yes. I do feel like that. And I think if we taught, went back to teaching art in school, I think it helps develop different parts of the brain, even if you're not going to be an artist, it's like communicates, different regions of the brain we don't even know about.
Exactly. First off, they should be teaching regular subjects back in school again too. But over the last
Regular.
15, right? Well, yeah, I can get into a whole thing about education today, but over the last 15, 20 years, I've seen schools bit by bit, on and off, cutting off the arts programs.
I know.
We're not putting out well-rounded students.
No.
This is one of the reasons we're not doing well when it comes to the STEMs either. That's another thing. But we need to nurture the whole student in a way, and
Yeah,
teaching
but
art, teaching music, teaching science,
yes,
teaching math, all of
yes,
that is very, very important
yes,
to
and communication, like like with other humans, in person.
no, we don't need that anymore. We have text messages, so we're good
Yeah,
there. You
our
have to teach
AI,
typing.
our AIs will communicate for us, I
Uh,
guess, in the future.
Josie Cotton, thank you very much for being with me on the Outhouse Lounge.
Thank you, Chris. I'm so glad I made it. It's so good to actually see you
Yeah,
and you're talking. You actually have a mouth, and you're like a human.
that's right. I know what you look
It's
like because I've seen you in
amazing.
videos and everything, but you unfortunately had to see me this time because I have the
Oh
face for
no,
radio.
no, 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 no. Quite cute. I have no complaints.
Once again, the new album is Day of the Gun. I have it here for those who are watching on video. It's this is the Spotify page. If you're listening on audio, you can get the album on Spotify or wherever you download music. I, for one, prefer the old-fashioned CD. Can you get all that stuff on the Kitten Robot Records page?
Yeah, and it's kittenrobot.com is
Okay.
is is how to get on the website, and then it goes into the studio and the recording studio, and then also the record company. So it's two different companies because they're both combined under kittenrobot.com. And yes, come see us. We have a really interesting website, I think.
You have a store. You can pick up the downloads as well here. So
Yeah.
that's the place to go. Kittenrobot.com. This is where you can get Josie and all of the artists here who are absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Well, thank you very much, Josie, and thank all of you for joining us in the Outhouse Lounge. Have an enjoyable rest of the day and keep listening to great music.